Well, this is part two. As you know, it's still September 25th, and we have a lot of wrestling we have to cover. As I mentioned before, we're going to be doing ChocoPro 258. We'll feature Yuna Mizumori for the last time. For now, in ChocoPro, this will be her final show before we see her in her last Got to Move show, Tropical Night, taking place on the 29th of September. And of course, we got the latest event by GLEAT, G Pro Wrestling version 35. And then, of course, day 14 of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Burning Spirit. Um, this one, it takes place in Kobe. And of course, a couple of news updates to share what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with ChocoPro 258. As I mentioned before, this is the last time we see Yuna Mizumori for now. As you know, she just graduated from Got to Move, so we will have her final event appearance in Got to Move on the 29th, but this is her final event with ChocoPro. Now, the Maestro who opened the show mentioned that there's some clear skies. Typhoon is kind of gone, people are coming by. Now, our opening match, we have Coyote Yonaname teaming up with Emi Sakura to take on Baliyan Akki and Yuna Mizumori. Now, in my assumption, I would have assumed she would have won this match because it would have been proper way for her to end it. But I have to say, you got to keep in mind you have Kato Yanama, who is a high-speed legend. You know for a fact she will pull off the fastest moves. That's exactly what she would have done. And of course, you got the queen herself, Emi Sakura, who has some dirty tricks up her sleeve. And that's exactly what she did when she applied a crucifix on Yuna Mizumori to pick up the win, and that was a very disappointing loss for her. I'm sure Yuna Mizumori would have wanted to win the match any way possible. Now, our next match, we have Saruyi taking on Cherry. We haven't seen her for quite some time in ChocoPro. I thought this match was really interesting because if you guys know this or not, Cherry has a background of judo. Um, if you guys didn't know this, when I was started watching Ice Ribbon, Cherry was asked to join a group known as Joint Army, which they have martial arts background, and it fits her. And she put many applications of submission onto Sarui, and I felt like she is the kind of person who definitely would be in a one-on-one match against Serena Deeb. But I have to say, she really was impressive with her submission techniques. It took a while for her to find the right one to make Sarui tap out, and I thought it was a pretty impressive one. Now, our next match, we have, of course, tag team action again. We have Chiko Shikawa teaming up with Sayaka, taking on Mei Shuga and Sayaka Obihiro. Uh, cannot recall when was the last time Mei's teamed up with Sayaka Obihiro, but it was a pretty good. I felt in this particular match, a lot of the work was done by Mei Shuga because she is a fantastic wrestler. I know many people have talked or recently talking about her, what a great wrestler she is. Not to mention that match she had with Azumi, and I thought it showed okay, she is taking care of business, and she pinned both Sayaka. No, my bad. It's not Sayaka. It's Tokiko Kihara. Sorry, it's not her. It's of course Chiko Shikawa, Tokiko Kihara. I thought this match was impressive by Matrix when she applied two pinfalls onto both Tokiko and Chiko Shikawa. So that was very cool, and I enjoyed it. Now, for our Jonkin tournament, I can tell you the best bros did not win it. I was hoping Yuna was gonna make it through. She managed to make it to the finals, but she lost to Emi Sakura, which is a very disappointing one. But of course, Emi Sakura was the one who won. She made it all the way to the finals and won the piece of chocolate. However, that does not end there. As you know, they announced for the upcoming event, Tropical Wild, that's taking place on the 27th. More matches have been added. I forgot which ones were, but they did the little send off thing they did to everybody who leaves the promotion in order to graduate, and I thought it was a pretty interesting, beautiful thing for sending off Yuna Mizumori. I'm sure she's gonna get another send off on the 29th. Because we don't know when she'll come back to ChocoPro, and hopefully, we know we have seen her in many promotions, but we'll see what happens then. So I think that's pretty much it with ChocoPro. I believe it's time to move on with GLEAT. Okay, GLEAT with G Pro Wrestling version 35. This one took place also on the 25th of September, just like ChocoPro in Japanese time. It started out with the open contract between both the G-Rex champion El Lindaman and his challenger Takanori Ito. Now, I don't know how this one's going to turn out, but I have seen Takanori Ito. He is a fantastic wrestler, but I think I like how his main weapon is the German suplex, which is something that El Lindaman has used. So I'm going to see who's going to walk out as the one applying the German suplex on who. Now, our opening match, we have Strong Hearts consistent of Issei Onitsuka, Shima and T-Hawk taking on Shinya Ishida, and the members of 60 Seconds, Keishi Sato and Jun Tonsho. Now, keep in mind, 60 Seconds are the one team that both the Strong Arts or Block Bulk Orchestra don't like, because they'd rather be the only two teams that are the most dominant. But of course, 60 Seconds are here to stay. But it was, of course, T Hawk who picked up the win when he pinned Ishida, giving them a straight message. So that shows to 60 Seconds that they don't have a place in the ranks of GLEAT. Now our next match is a UWF rules match. We have Mochiko Miyagi versus Maya Fukita. Now you probably can guess this match would have ended in favor of Miyagi, which it did when she applied a one-leg Boston Crab, and that kind of sealed the deal for her win. And I thought, very simple. Now we know that Maya has a background in karate, but I know she'll get better as soon as possible. Now our next match, we have Oji Shiba taking on the leader of 60 Seconds, Tetsuya Asushi. I thought this match was pretty good because um, Oji Shiba Oji Shiba was a very interesting wrestler when I saw him last time, but it was the spinning elbow onto Shiba by Azushi. It sealed the deal for her. But however, apparently Kaito Sato continues to bother Isushi, trying to get him into a match. But sooner or later, they're gonna have this. I don't know what's the deal with Kaito, why he has his issues towards him. I'm going to assume that maybe he thinks that he is just a dumb young wrestler who doesn't know what he's doing. Now, our next match, we have Soma Watanabe with Yu Isushi and Minoru Tanaka taking on the members of Bulk Orchestra consistent of Chek Shimatani, Kazuma Sakamoto, and Ruchi Kawakami. Now, this was a very powerful match, as you know, because most of these guys are not the team number one. There's no affiliation with any faction except for Minoru Tanaka, who has one in All Japan, but this is a different scenario. But it was, of course, the Death Valley driver by Ruchi onto Izushi to get Izuda, I think, by Izuka in order to pick up the win. So pretty good by Bulk Orchestra. Now our next match, this is a newly formed team. We have Hayato Tamura, Dan Tamura, and Rising Hayato taking on Kaz Ayaguchi, Abdullah Kobayashi, and Yuji Okabayashi. I thought this match was pretty insane, even when they dogpiled onto Hayato Tamura, but it was, of course, the inside curl by Kaz that picked up the win for his team, and I thought it was great. I'm sure that this newly formed team is not gonna take this kindly. Now our main event is the G-Rex Championship between Takanori Ito and El Lindaman. I thought it was a very interesting match. You probably would have assumed that El Lindaman probably would be on a bigger challenge. What it kind of did, but it was, of course, the German suplex by El Lindaman that gave him the win. Now, there's still no indication who will be the next challenger, but I'm sure we will find out soon enough when that day happens. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for this one. I believe it's time for our final review, New Japan Wrestling, Burning Spirit. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling with Burning Spirit, day 14th. This one also took place today on the 25th. We have Bullet Club consistent of Hikuleo, El Fantasmo, and Kenta taking on LIJ's Bushi, Hiromu, and Shingo Takagi. Now, keep in mind in this particular, Shingo has been dealing with the crap coming from El Fantasmo ever since the G1, where he beat him and he's telling people that he is Shingo Takagi's daddy. But, however, Shingo actually proved him wrong when he applied a somewhat of a crucifix move on him, picking up the win, and he's declaring himself that he is El Fantasmo's daddy. So we'll see how this is going to turn out, because it's more like who is one up the other. That's always been the real story, showing like, okay, Phantasmo likes to gloat how much he defeated one of the most strongest individuals in New Japan, but now is Shingo's trying to make fun, saying, well, I beat you, did I? That makes me your daddy. So that kind of tells it all. Now our next match, this is more of a grudge match between two wrestlers. We're talking about Toru Yano and Doc Gallows. As you know, Doc Gallows has been punched in the nuts many times over by Yano. However, this is more of a plot for Doc Gallows to get even with him for all the crap that he put him through. But on result, because they couldn't control their composure, it ended up in a double countout. Nobody won in this match. It only lasted like maybe less than 5 minutes, from my understanding. Next up, we got the United Empire. We have, this is more of an implication who will be facing for the IWGP heavyweight titles. Now, keep in mind, October 2nd, FTR, the current champions, will be facing Aussie Open on that. Whoever walks out will be challenging Khan and either Bullet Club or United Empire. But in this case, it was more of the turnaround where they were able to isolate them more as possible. They isolated Chase away from Fale, but it was, of course, Khan with the pinfall onto Chase Owens, giving them the win to reclaim the titles that they officially lost. So we will see that soon enough. So the obvious question is, who will Khan and Cabo face? Will they be FTR or the Federal Brethren Aussie Open? Well, we don't know until we find out on October 2nd in London, so we'll be paying attention to that soon enough. Now, our next match, we have the Dangerous Tekkers taking on Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. taking on LIJ, Sonata, and Zack Sabre Jr. Now, keep in mind, Sonata and Tetsuya Naito, my bad. As you know, Naito and Zack Sabre Jr. have been at each other's throats ever since the G1. But however, in this particular case, it was Taichi that pinned Sonata while he was applying his little push-up scheme. But this feud between Naito and Zack Sabre Jr. has taken up to new heights. As you know, because Naito lost his opportunity to go to Wrestle Kingdom, so we'll see what happens then. Now, our next match, we have TMDK, Bad Dude Tito, Shane Hayes, and Jonah taking on GBH's Tomoaki Hamna and Togi Makabe to take on the Rainmaker, Kaguchika Okada. Now, you know for a fact this is the kind of match that Jonah would like to send a direct message to the top top guy in New Japan, and that top guy unfortunately had to be um, Okada, but he had to witness how Jonah applied torpedo onto Hamna, giving him the message saying that he will take him out one way or the other. And of course, Okada has to stay more vigilant than he ever was. Now, our next match, we were supposed to have um, Kushida involved, but due to this condition that he obtained, Yado stepped up to plate. Uh, they take on Bullet Club's, of course, Taiji Shimura and Jay White, and that kind of throws it out in a way because Ishimori and Jay White, they have issues towards Tama Tonga. That was always been the case. We've been seeing this feud. As you know, Tama will be challenging for the IWGP World Heavyweight title against Jay White. But of course, in X Factor, Geto gets involved, as we always seen every single time. But however, it was Ishimori with the lights out onto Yado that picked up the win for the Bullet Club. But of course, Tama's not going to let this go one way or the other until he gets his hands on Jay White on the day they have to challenge for the title. Now our next match is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. We have 6 or 9 Wado and Taguchi taking on the current champions Francesco Kara and TJP. Now these guys defeated them the last time, and they're hoping that they will not lose this, and they kind of fall into favor. The United Empire fall into favors as the guys that will retain the titles. But however, the cohesiveness between both Akira and TJP was solid. It showed that TJP didn't do so much, but it did allow for them to pick up the win when Akira applied a cutter onto Taguchi to retain the titles. Now our next match, we have the never openweight title between Hiroshi Tanahashi and Carl Anderson. Now Anderson has lost many matches against Tanahashi. He feels that this is his white whale that he has to defeat in order to outdo him once and for all. He always felt that he took the spotlight from him. But of course, in this particular match, we're going to see Gallows was getting interfered, but Yano tried to help, but it didn't do any well until, of course, the gun stun applied by Anderson to Tanahashi gave them the win. But of course, Jay White, who was sending a message to Tanahashi saying that this is his era, Tama Tonga comes out to give it a helping hand, and then right behind him, here comes Hikuleo. But of course, what we did not anticipate, and neither did Bullet Club, that Hikuleo turned his back on Bullet Club and joined his brother Tama Tonga. And I think this is the last thing he needed. But the real question is, should Jay White be worried now? As you know, Tama will be challenging for the IWGP World Heavyweight title soon. So we'll see what happens then. Now our main event is the IWGP United States Heavyweight title between David Finlay and champion Will Ospreay. I have to say it was a pretty good match. I liked how David Finlay put up every stop, but however, it was of course the Stormbreaker that ended. And I think this shows a lot of heart and determination by David Finlay. We know he'll get another shot, but we just don't know when. So Will Ospreay was about to give his promo as soon as he won his match. Here comes Naito, who's asking him, as saying, I would like to be your challenger for the IWGP United States title. But however, Zack Sabre Jr. got into his head. Decided, nope, sorry Naito, I beat you. No. He's like, you lost to Will Ospreay, so that means you don't qualify. I beat Will Ospreay at the New Japan Cup. So basically, they're trying to say this. But however, there was a match to set that these two will be facing, who will be facing off against Will Ospreay. So I think the idea what the story is this. Naito couldn't get an opportunity for Wrestle Kingdom, so he's trying to be smarter than he should be. But of course, Will Ospreay doesn't take care of who comes out, as long as he comes out as the champion, regardless of who is in his way. And of course, once again, we get the promo. They claim they will rule the entire wrestling world, but the real question is, will they hold on? And they are strongly confident enough to believe that the IWGP heavyweight titles will be returning home, back where they belong, with United Empire. As you know, they had them last time before Forbidden Door. And I think that's pretty much it right now with New Japan. So it's time for news updates. news updates. Interesting developments are coming in from WWE. As you know, there's this new wrestler named Myles Borne. Now, if you guys noticed something odd when he was on NXT Level Up, he spoke kind of funny. But, however, I had a feeling about the way he talked because if you guys noticed or not, there's a reason why he talked that way. And I kind of had that feeling because I had a friend who talked in that way. And if you guys don't know what I'm referring to, it was revealed that Myles Borne is deaf. So yes, it's a very interesting development. Apparently, he had this thing since he was 2 years old that made him lose his hearing and all this and that. I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. So it makes sense. So I think right now WWE has to be more careful with him, knowing that the guy is deaf. But according to what information is coming about Myles Borne, is that he is expert in reading lips. He's been reading lips since he was 2 years old, and I think that's a very good thing to have. Now, we have seen wrestlers who wrestled as deaf. There's Spencer Slade, made a couple appearances in AEW Dark back during the Jacksonville days, but that's about it. Now, our next update is coming from the GCW Japan. It was announced for War Ready on the 4th of October. Effie will be facing off against Kikutaro. So I have to say that's going to be a good match to watch. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, more updates on JCW, Jersey Championship Wrestling. It was told that, of course, for the JCW versus the World, we're going to have Too Hot Steve versus a Shota. And I think it's going to be a very interesting match to see those two. Now, Deadlock Pro Wrestling update. We have, of course, for the Carolina Classic that takes place on the 15th of October, we're going to have Lucky Ali taking on the LA Dojo's Young Lion Yuya Umura. So it's going to be interesting to see that too. Now, reports are coming in this time from the Wrestling Observer saying that there's been talks about having Jacy Jayne and Gigi Dolin move to the main roster. Now, we know they did a pretty good impression lately. There's been talks about that for quite some time. It's only a matter of time until that happens. But the question is, how would it happen? I would see more like if they challenge once again for the tag titles, then if they loses, then that means that they are on the way to the main roster. Now, information came out from Prestige Wrestling. They're saying that Midnight Heat had to relinquish their tag team titles due to the fact that Ricky Gibson got injured. So we wish nothing best for him. Hopefully, he makes a speedy recovery. There's still no information what Prestige Wrestling is going to do now when these tag titles are vacant. Now, for all you pro wrestling fans out there who are also wrestlers, pro wrestlers locally, working in the independents, it was announced by Pro Wrestling Revolution that there's going to be a Pro Wrestling Noah tryout on the 17th of November in San Jose, California. So I'm like very interesting about that. So I'm putting this out there for anybody. If you have any friends who are wrestlers, if they want to try out, go ahead. It's going to be in San Jose on the 17th of November. Um, uh, Now Michi Marufuji is going to be there, and also Katsuhitaro Nakajima is going to be there too. So it's going to take place on the Pro Wrestling Revolution Academy in San Jose. You can look it up on YouTube or you look it up on social media, and it says all the information is right there. So hopefully any of you guys will enjoy it. I think that's pretty much it. With our news updates, I believe it's time to call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, I'm going to be winging some events that popped up on Watch Pro Wrestling. Some coming from Tokyo Shoot Pro, others from Pro Wrestling Noah, of course, the House of Glory, and very others I haven't decided. There's still no word yet on if the other Stardom events, such as Day 19 and Showcase, will be displayed. If they do, I'll do those as soon as possible just to get that out of the way and then move on to the next one. But we are expecting AEW Dark Elevation. I will be covering that too. So I think that's pretty much it what we have. So I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.